Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In a shocking turn of events, Israel's much-publicized ground invasion into Gaza has backfired dramatically. What was supposed to be a show of strength and control turned into a nightmare of chaos, ambushes, and devastating losses for the Israeli Defense Forces. The streets of Gaza, riddled with traps, tunnels, and snipers, became a deadly maze that swallowed entire Israeli units. Tonight, we break down how the invasion went wrong and why it might mark a major turning point in this brutal conflict. The invasion began under the banner of Phase 2. Israeli commanders promised a swift and decisive victory against Hamas, targeting what they called terrorist infrastructure. Tanks rolled in, drones filled the skies, and Israeli troops advanced deep into Gaza's shattered neighborhoods. But what they didn't know was that Hamas had been preparing for this moment for months. According to battlefield reports, Hamas elite Al-Qassam brigades turned the city into a fortress. They laid explosive traps in narrow alleyways, mined roads, and constructed an elaborate network of sniper nests overlooking key routes. When Israeli forces moved in, confident in their technological edge, they were met with a storm of precision fire. Witnesses described the chaos as intense and unrelenting. Sniper shots rang out from every direction. Tanks came under RPG fire from rooftops. Drones guided mortar shells directly onto advancing Israeli formations. Communication broke down, and several armored vehicles were destroyed before they could even deploy troops. By midday, what Israel expected to be a smooth advance turned into a full-blown disaster. At least 3 Israeli battalions were pinned down in an urban death trap. Hamas fighters, using tunnels and underground passages, appeared behind enemy lines, ambushing troops from unexpected angles. The level of coordination stunned even military analysts. Hamas released dramatic footage showing their fighters targeting Israeli tanks and armored personnel carriers. The videos depict burning vehicles and soldiers scrambling for cover. Israeli commandos attempted to regain control, calling in air support, but the risk of hitting their own forces made airstrikes difficult. One senior defense analyst called it a tactical failure of monumental proportions. Israeli planners underestimated the resistance, the terrain, and the level of preparation by Hamas. The group had studied Israeli tactics for years, anticipating every move, every formation, and every route of entry. By the second day, the situation had worsened. Reports indicate that several Israeli units lost communication entirely, while others were forced to retreat under heavy fire. Dozens of casualties were confirmed, and many soldiers were evacuated with severe injuries. For Israel, which prides itself on military superiority, this was a humiliation that struck at the core of its confidence. The Israeli army later admitted that the Gaza operation faced unexpected resistance. But that statement barely scratches the surface. Hamas not only resisted, they dominated the battlefield. Their use of sniper teams, decoys, and hit-and-run tactics neutralized Israel's technological advantage. In one particularly devastating ambush, a column of Israeli armored vehicles was lured into a narrow urban corridor. The moment they entered, explosive charges hidden beneath debris detonated simultaneously, crippling several tanks. As panic set in, Hamas snipers opened fire on the exposed soldiers. Drone footage later showed the aftermath: smoke, fire, and chaos. This event sent shockwaves through the Israeli command. How could one of the world's most advanced militaries be outmaneuvered by a militia operating in bombed-out streets? The answer lies in strategy. Hamas had transformed Gaza's ruins into a battlefield advantage. Every collapsed building became a sniper hideout. Every destroyed home hid a tunnel entrance. Every shadow concealed danger. Meanwhile, global reactions are pouring in. Supporters of Palestine call the failed invasion a sign of resistance and resilience. Across social media, hashtags like #GazaVictory and #IsraelFails are trending. At the same time, Israeli media outlets are scrambling to explain what went wrong. Some commentators are openly questioning the government's decision to launch a full-scale ground invasion in such conditions. Analysts now believe this failed operation could reshape the war entirely. Israel's losses are not just military, they are psychological. Soldiers returning from the front lines describe confusion, fear, and a sense of betrayal. One unnamed soldier reportedly said, "We walked into a trap. They knew every step we would take." The political backlash is growing. Inside Israel, anger is mounting against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership. Critics accuse him of rushing into the invasion for political gain, ignoring military warnings about Hamas capabilities. Families of fallen soldiers have begun protesting, demanding accountability. On the other side, Hamas is celebrating what they call a divine victory. In a statement broadcast from Gaza, Al-Qassam leaders declared that Israel's military has met its limit and that no occupation can defeat the will of our people. Their morale is soaring, even as Gaza continues to face airstrikes and humanitarian devastation. International observers warn that this failed invasion could escalate the conflict further. Israel might retaliate with overwhelming air power, increasing the already catastrophic civilian toll. Meanwhile, Iran and Hezbollah have reportedly praised Hamas' success, calling it a message to the occupiers. But beyond the military consequences, this battle marks a shift in perception. For decades, Israel's army has been seen as nearly invincible, a force capable of defeating any enemy swiftly. But Gaza has changed that image. The world is watching an army once known for precision and dominant struggle against an enemy it underestimated. Satellite images show large plumes of smoke rising from the battlegrounds. Entire neighborhoods are reduced to rubble. The humanitarian crisis deepens as Gaza's hospitals overflow with the injured, and power outages leave thousands stranded in darkness. Still, amid the destruction, Hamas' message resonates, that resistance can still inflict pain on a stronger foe. The question now is, what comes next? Israel's military command is reportedly planning a new strategy, possibly involving a deeper push into northern Gaza. But after the failure of this assault, confidence is shaken. Troops are wary, commanders are cautious, and the Israeli public is increasingly divided. Meanwhile, U.S. officials have expressed concern, calling for restraint. But behind closed doors, Washington fears that this failure could embolden Iran, Hezbollah, and other regional groups to act. The Middle East, once again, stands on the edge of a wider conflict. In the end, this failed invasion will be remembered not just for its military loss, but for what it revealed, that even the strongest armies can falter in the face of determination, planning, and terrain. Gaza, scarred but unbroken, has once again defied the odds. And as night falls over the battered city, the echoes of sniper fire fade into silence. But the message remains clear. The fight for Gaza is far from over. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.